should forever be forgotten. Growing up with 12 siblings in our cramped 2-story house, my parents were absolutely insane. There were bunk beds crammed into every room, stacked so high you could barely sit up without hitting the ceiling. The walls constantly vibrated with crying babies, arguing teenagers, and creaking floorboards. Hand-me-down clothes never quite fit, threadbare and stained by the time they reached the youngest kids. Dinner was usually watered-down soup with barely any vegetables, served with stale bread we tore into pieces to make it last. We never got normal Christmas presents because money was tight, but looking back, I realized they were planning something much darker. Every Christmas Eve, one child was chosen to be Santa's helper. We thought it was the greatest honor imaginable. The chosen kid would beam with pride as Mom and Dad explained they'd been selected for this special privilege. They had to spend the entire night locked in the cold, concrete basement workshop to help Santa prepare gifts for Christmas morning. The rest of us would lie awake, huddled together, listening to muffled sounds drifting up through the floorboards like ghostly whispers. We heard drilling that seemed endless, hammering that echoed like gunshots, sawing that scraped our nerves, and sometimes what sounded like screaming that made our blood run cold. But Mom always brushed off our concerns, saying it was just hard work and Christmas magic being made down there. My twin sister Sylvia was always the obvious favorite among all of us kids. She was naturally sweet and gentle, with curly blonde hair that caught the light like an angel's. She was incredibly artistic, always drawing pictures of flowers and rainbows on scraps of paper, and never questioned anything our parents told us. She had this innocent way of accepting everything at face value, never doubting their explanations. Last Christmas Eve, when we were both 8 years old, she was chosen to be Santa's helper. The rest of us were genuinely jealous. Sylvia practically glowed with happiness as Dad led her down the creaking wooden stairs. I remember lying in the top bunk that night, staring at the water-stained ceiling and counting brown spots. My younger brother Jake was tossing and turning below, and I could hear other kids whispering nervously in the darkness. The sounds from below got really bad around midnight. Sylvia's screaming was completely different from previous years when other siblings had been chosen. It was more desperate, more raw, more terrified, like an animal caught in a trap. When I tried to sneak downstairs to check on her, Dad was waiting at the basement door like a guard. His eyes looked wild and unfocused, and he blocked my path, firmly saying Santa needed complete focus for his important work. Christmas morning came gray and cold, but there were no presents under our pathetic little tree. Dad nervously explained that Santa was running behind schedule, and we would get our gifts later. His voice cracked, and he kept wringing his hands. But Sylvia never came upstairs for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. When we kept asking where she was, our voices getting more panicked, Mom would start crying uncontrollably and repeat that Santa took his very best helper back to the North Pole with him. I snuck down to the basement that afternoon while everyone else was napping. The door was unlocked for the first time in hours. What I found still haunts my nightmares. Sylvia tied tightly. There were fresh drill holes in arm. A crumpled note nearby was written in Dad's unmistakable handwriting. Practice makes perfect helpers. I screamed louder than I ever had in my life. The police arrived within hours after neighbors called about the noise. Sylvia miraculously survived. All 13 of us kids were immediately separated and sent to different foster homes scattered across the state. We haven't seen each other since that terrible day. We miss you every single day, Sylvia. I hope you found a real family who loves you properly.